Hi, I am Rachel Cannett, and this is my intro for EDL 853, Module 1. So a little bit about me. I tried not to get too carried away, but I am from California. I've been in Kansas 25 years, though. I have educators in my family. My mom was an adaptive PE teacher. My little brother is a vice principal. I have a sister-in-law who is a educator at the university level, and then I have another sister-in-law who's a high school teacher. I have a aunt who was also an educator. So it kind of ran in my family, but it's something I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. I do have lots of dogs. It is just me, but I have two Great Danes. The puppies that are pictured aren't the exact dogs, but the exact colors. I have a blue and a black. And then I do have a little girl named Minnie, who's my Jack Russell, who actually just had puppies. So I very much am a dog lover. In terms of my work environment, I am in Seaman 345 here in Topeka, Kansas. I've been with them 15 years. I was a K-6 elementary interrelated special education teacher for 10 of those. I was an integrated behavior specialist for a year at an elementary school. Then I kind of took a position that actually reports directly to the director of special education. My titles kind of changed. I was a district special education consultant teacher. And then for the last 2 years, I've been the title of the district special education instructional coach. And it is directly under the director of special ed for those last two positions. So very similar to maybe like an assistant sped director, just not with that title. And we are a pre-K through 12 district. In terms of the questions, so how to promote an inclusive culture. I do feel some of the most important aspects of that is model, model, model. As a school leader, I think you need to show that you believe in that and that that is your philosophy in order for your staff and your students to believe that same philosophy. So create and build a support an inclusive environment among the building and its people. There may be things that you need to do with the staff to have all the staff feel included. I am always been on the special ed side, and so I do feel there are some times that sometimes special ed is separate from gen ed, but I've been in buildings where you would never guess that. So I know it can be done, and sometimes it's a struggle, but I think as long as we all realize we're all educators and our goal is to support all of our students, no matter what position you're in, then it can be done. I think as a school leader, I think I would need to have a vision and a mission that all of my staff believes in and understands. Like, what is our purpose? What is our goal for our students and as a building? All staff are working together. All students are our students. It is a struggle sometimes being on the special ed side that they often feel that those are your students and not mine, but they are their students first, and we're the extra support. Although we're a certified teacher, we are coming into gen ed classrooms and supporting those students that struggle. And on the flip side, or in addition to that, it's not always special education students that need help being included. But sometimes a special ed teacher can help with those kids that struggle as well. I do also feel that visibility and inclusive expectations as a school leader is pretty important. I think you need to be out and about. I think you need to be looking in your classrooms. I think you need to be showing that you're expecting everybody to be on the same page, but also being out and showing that in you as well, that you're out there, you're going to support them, you've been in a classroom, you can help suggest things, you can be there if they have questions, and just having the expectation that we are going to have all our students in our classrooms and we're going to support them all in the way that we can. If it's something that doesn't exist and I need to build in a building that I may be leading, I do feel I would be working with the staff and getting feedback and determine the need. A lot of time just taking the time to ask your staff, what do you need? What can I help you with? I know as a special ed teacher, I would do that same thing for my gen ed teachers. You're going to have these students in your class. They're different than the ones you had last year because no student is the same. What do you need from me to help make that happen? I would need to help build and support the belief that everyone deserves to be there. So building on the strengths of the teachers, building on the strengths of the students, and that although there's going to be those students that we all know are the ones that just challenge you in every way, they still deserve to be in your classroom, and we just need to find the ways to reach them. I think another good way is to have teams with go-to people. So in our district, we have building leadership teams that have different staff on them. It could be a special ed teacher, the counselor, gen ed teachers that are good go-to people for the whole staff as a whole. And then we also have, our grade level teams. We have even things like a social committee team, but people that you can go to and get those suggestions from. We have teachers that have been teaching a long time, but there's still always that one kid or that one student that's got something that they need a lot of help with, that they might need somebody to go to and say, hey, I have this student. What have you done in the past? And to be okay asking for that help. So be okay to be supportive of each other and not feel that you have this one student and nobody does, so you just need to figure it out yourself. Celebrate and share the good and what you see. I think for a school leader to be out and be visible, you get to see those things. You go into the different classrooms and you're not sharing it to maybe make one teacher seem better than another, but maybe for the chance that one teacher can hear what another teacher's doing in their classroom. Educators don't always get to go and visit other classrooms, so if they can see and hear those things, they can then go to that teacher and say, hey, how did you do that? I need that help. And to be okay collaborating in that manner. So I think those are just things that you have to present, that you have to model, that you have to have that belief yourself in order for the staff and the students to have the same belief that you do. For advocacy, again, I come from the special ed side, so this is a very strong part of me as well, that, I will advocate for my students, and it may not always be the most fun. But the idea is that we don't have some of our students and even some of our staff that can advocate for themselves or struggle to do that. And so we need to be sure that we are providing support so that they feel comfortable doing that. I think for staff to learn to be good advocates for their students, relationships. Relationships are such an important thing with staff and students, as well as staff and staff. I think if we provide some strategies that can help staff strengthen their relationships with their students, whether that's giving staff time to go intervene in another classroom and observe and see how relationships are being built, providing strategies on how to build relationships, especially with those ones that seem to be hard to reach, ways to do that. Support for staff on working with students with different needs, trauma, etc. So some of that involves some training. What we think might be the way that we would support a student and advocate for them may not be the same as the next one. And like I said before, you may get that student you've never had who has some background that you don't know about. So I need to provide some training on understanding those things. Same thing with cultural differences. Understanding how you can reach that student and build that relationship is going to make it easier for you to be an advocate for them. Some things that we've done in our district as well is purposely pairing up staff with groups of students. So I have schools that will do this at their own grade level, but I've also had schools that'll do it school-wide. So for instance, a third grade teacher may have a daily check-in or a weekly check-in with kids in their class, but they also might do a daily or weekly check-in with someone in another grade level. So they have certain students that they are their person. They check in with those kids know they can come to them. It's a great way to find that person. Sometimes we know that the rapport is just better with some people than other, and it's not necessarily that somebody is doing something wrong. They just built that best rapport with that person in some form or fashion. So sometimes just building up groups of students that a teacher directly has to check in. Like it's just part of your daily routine to do that. It's in a sense not an option, but it helps you understand and view different students and meeting different students in the building. So that helps them and promote that inclusive culture across the building and not just have it be within your grade level. And then I believe empowering staff to be the voice for their students when they need help. I think most educators are great at this and they know they need to do it. Sometimes it's just making sure they have the outlet to do it. So share ways to do that. For our school, in our district, we do professional learning communities. So within our schools, each grade levels and grade level teachers meet at least on a monthly basis, if not more often. But then we also do that across the district. So sometimes staff are able to share what they have used to help them support students in the classroom and make it inclusive. And the professional learning communities kind of go hand in hand with our regularly scheduled grade level collaboration meetings, because those are often grade level specific. So you would meet with your grade level team, but those collaboration meetings are also times that like the social worker can come, the special ed teacher can come, the counselor. Some of those people that do this on a more regular basis on how to support those students are then there for those teachers to naturally ask for help and not have to go out of their way or find the time. It's provided. We provide them that time to be able to ask for their help and say, hey, I have this kid. I know he needs some help. I'm struggling on figuring out how to do it. Can you help me? So a lot of the time, special ed is some experts and some strategies that maybe aren't used on a regular basis in the classroom. So just having that wealth of knowledge in one meeting on a regular basis opens the doors for people to naturally want to ask for help, and then it feeds over. The idea is that it feeds over. You're passing the hallway. Hey, can I chat with you for a bit? I need some help with the student. So anything that you can help build their knowledge of how to advocate for a kid and giving them the outlets to do that, I think is very positive. In terms of equitable and changing negative assumptions, I think one of the things right off the bat is to make sure that there's training and understanding in the difference between equitable and equal. Sometimes it's very hard for teachers who maybe have been teaching a long time. Our students have changed, our society has changed, and we have to get a little past the understanding that everybody gets the same thing. That's not how it works. We need to make it fair and justifiable, that if you need something and another kid doesn't, that should be okay. And we need to understand that as educators, and we need to help our students understand that. It does not mean that we're letting some kid have something easierly done. I don't think that's a word. Or to let some student get away with something is sometimes the phrase we get. It's making it more accessible to them so that they can meet the same levels and do the same things as their peers. So some of the things to do that is building capacity among our staff for understanding and build in purposeful teaching points for the classroom to help students understand. So in our district, we do have our school counselors that do monthly counseling classes with the entire class. And within those classes, there's often things and topics that talk about inclusive situations. When students are different, how do we do that? What does it look like? How can we help peers in our class that may be struggling? It, of course, talks about bullying, but it's something that every class gets, and they get the same lesson, same vocabulary, same instruction, so that when they're interacting with students in another class even, they learn to understand. And they have the openness to ask a question about, well, this is, I've seen this happen, what does that mean? So there's some of those open, more transparent conversations that they can have in the counseling classes that are provided on a monthly basis. And then a lot of teachers, and it's a pretty strong philosophy in our district, is to have weekly or daily class meetings. Sometimes those class meetings are based around a theme, because we have a program that we use in the classroom as well that kind of feeds off of our counseling lessons monthly. Or maybe that's your class meeting to learn to talk with each other, maybe anonymously share a concern, and then the class talks about how to work through it, and just giving some empathy and some understanding to each of our peers and our classmates on how we are different, but that we're all the same in the classroom. We are all in this together. We all want the same things. We want to feel loved. Some need more help than others, and it doesn't mean that they're any less of a person. Another way is supporting each other in a common vision. So coming back to that idea, as a school leader, I need to be sure that we're all on the same page as to what we want for our students and our staff as part of the school, and how we're going to succeed together. Not every man for himself, or this grade's doing better than that grade. How can we help each other and help us all feel included, as well as have equitable standards for all of our kids? In terms of changing negative assumptions, this one's hard because I know it's out there. So some of this could be sharing and showing the positive, not discounting that the struggles will happen. I think you need to be sure that you don't portray yourself as thinking that there's never going to be something negative, there's never going to be something that happens, but how to problem solve through that. And what is the positive outcome of that? How did that change that classroom? How did that change that student's perception of something? How are teachers seeing that they feel included? You might even take a survey and ask kids, and we do that at the end of our school years, about how they feel in their classroom. Do they feel safe? Do they feel they can go to the teacher for things? So I think those are ways to build and change that negative mentality of, we can't all do the same things. I can't do it, and I can't change things. Everybody needs to do what I want them to do. I think giving examples and non-examples, making it real. I think sometimes when we put into perspective things that we as adults deal with, of negative comments and negative assumptions and equitable needs that we as adults need. I mean, we know that as I'm learning, I like to have visuals. So that would be something that would be equitable to me, because maybe the 5 other people in my class don't need that. But that's something as an adult I need, and I should feel that I am not less of a student because I needed a visual to help support my learning, but somebody else didn't. I think validating concerns and problem solving through them is a very important aspect of getting rid of negative assumptions. It lets teachers know that, yes, we know not everything is perfect, and that there are going to be some hiccups and some things there. So let's problem solve and figure out how to solve it for the next time. And then again, coming back to, as a principal and as a school leader, leading by example. If I'm not doing those things, then I shouldn't expect somebody else to do them. I often say that when I was a SPED teacher, I would never expect my peers to do something that I too myself was not willing to do. So if you want your teachers to have that feeling of inclusiveness and to spread that off to their students, you should be able to make them feel that way as well. I believe that is it. And nice to meet y'all, and I look forward to the class.